What's up,
Yes.
guys? We're live
Yo.
with chat number 27 of 30. We are so close, I can smell it. Um, but tonight we have Johto Jake, and I'm very excited to be chatting with you. We haven't gotten a chance to talk all that often. I think we met at a
No.
card party or a collecticon one time and just kind of
Card Party 2.
exchanged pleasantries and then haven't really
I
met
know.
up after that. But it'll be nice
We
to
know
get.
so many of the same people.
Yeah, exactly. But you're West Coast, I'm East Coast. It's hard to, it's hard to make that
No, for
happen
sure.
sometimes. But yeah, if you don't mind, letting us know where people in chat and people who watch us after the fact can support you, and who's Jodo Jake? Give us a little rundown.
Yeah. Well, first of all, Java, thank you for having me. I'm like number 27, and I'm like behind so many other incredible people. Like you've had so many of like you had Retro, you had Greeny, you had Oak, you had just so many legends, Suge, all of them. I need to catch up. Like I need to just go and because I haven't been able to watch all of them. So there's a lot of people I've known of, like Spat. Like I haven't I've seen Spat in different discords and need to just like click on all of them and watch them while I'm working or something because you've had you've had a good month. I'm sure you're tired,
Yeah.
but hopefully you got a little bit of energy for me.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I'm a collector. My name's Jodo Jake in this space. I have an Instagram, jodo.jake. I do custom edits for my page where I just showcase my collection. And I also do commissions for other collectors that want to showcase their collection in a cool way. And then I started my YouTube channel in October last year. Took a while for me to finally pull the trigger, but glad I did. Um, yeah, I've been collecting since 2020. Got back into the hobby, like so many other people, like very early 2020. And then before that, I was actually collecting in like 2010 through like 2012. And man, if I had all of the knowledge that I've absorbed now, and I could bring that back to the past, oof, that'd be amazing. But I was collecting like Wizards of the Coast sets, binder sets. Didn't care if it was first edition or not. I just wanted them to be as minty as possible. Um, no one cared as much about sealed and investing as they do now, or graded cards for that matter. Um, yeah, that's a little bit about me. I've just been enjoying meeting the people through YouTube, through local spaces like being here in the Bay Area in California. We're a little spoiled. We have card shows probably every other week. I literally just came back from one today, which was really cool. I got to uh, finally meet in person with someone that I do like a bi-weekly, not bi-weekly, it was bi-weekly for a little while podcast with Henry's Pokey Corner. He's based out of Sacramento. So I got to meet him and Eric, who he has a podcast with on his channel. And it was a great time. Yeah.
Awesome. Give us a little bit of history. Were you into Pokemon growing up and kind of got out of it and got
Oh,
back
yeah.
into it? Or yeah, give
Oh,
us a little history.
yeah, definitely. I grew up with Pokemon. I'm a 90s baby, literally 1990. I want to say I was like 9 years old, and I had an older friend who was into Pokemon, and he actually gave me his Pokemon Blue, and I've been hooked since. I played Blue, played Yellow, played Silver, Crystal, all the way through probably I don't know. I know I played X and Y. I played a lot of the games, and as far as like the cards go, I remember going to like riding my bike to the local card shop every weekend, watching like Pokemon or Yu-Gi-Oh in the morning, and then just booking it to that card shop to, look at the cards. I remember seeing base set Charizard on display for like $100 at the time. I remember seeing Team Rocket booster boxes on the shelves, and yeah, I collected a lot of Pokemon. I never learned to play. Like I even Pokemon Pocket, I barely know how to play.
Yeah.
I think my partner, who plays Pocket more than I do, has a better idea of the game than I do. Um, got really deep into it, and then at some point that turned into Yu-Gi-Oh, and I actually played Yu-Gi-Oh like semi-competitively locally as a kid. I remember playing when Invasion of Chaos came out, so I had like a light and dark deck. Really enjoyed that. My Pokemon just disappeared. I don't know where that went. Sadly, I just like a lot of others. Maybe parents got rid of it or just lost it. And yeah, I just, it's a big part of my childhood. I remember like one of my best friends, still one of my like childhood best friends, we used to like play silver and gold all of the time. Like, remember we would have sleepovers, we'd be like just like literally playing the game over and over again, like trying different things, trying different teams, and trying to literally complete the Pokedex in silver and gold, which I can only imagine what that looks like now with how many Pokemon there are. Like
Yeah.
kids these days, like it's impossible. Um, yeah, and then I kind of like, high school happened, went to college, and I think I like in 2010 I was like in community college at the time, and I remember another one of my friends, him and I were just like, I don't know, we started talking about Pokemon, and he mentioned, he's like, yeah, I'm gonna start doing like a binder set, a base set, and I was like, that sounds super cool. Like, there's a lot of cards that I didn't get when I was a child. I remember like in like maybe fourth or fifth grade, like my dad would give me like $10 allowance if I like did the dishes every week, cleaned his car on Sundays. And I remember going to this card shop nearby. This is a different card shop, and I totally got taken advantage of. I had a base set Blastoise. I remember it was a Mewtwo and I think a Gyarados, and I
Oh no.
sold them to the card shop for like 2 base set packs. And
Oh,
I to this day I'm just like, man, this is what it's like getting taken advantage of now with these vendors. No, but yeah, like I just have a like deep passion for Pokemon. Um, I feel like people who grew up in the 90s with like the original base set just have like this nostalgia factor that I am sure kids to this like to these and today still have that feeling, but I don't know, there's just something special about that time. And yeah, back in like 2010 I just started filling out a base set, and then I was like, wait a second, maybe I can do jungle, maybe I can do fossil, team rocket. And my buddy had stopped. He finished with team rocket, like, and he was like, he's good. And I just kept going. I did gym heroes, gym challenge, and I think all the way up till I tried to do neo destiny, but there was still a lot of holes. um, and like I said at the time, like people did not care for like first edition or unlimited at the time. It wasn't like a big deal, and the price differences weren't there. And so I was like, I don't need the first edition stamp. It still looks good. If the card looks nice, throw it in the binder.
yeah.
And then in 2020 happened. I mean, the boom happened. I remember the Pokerev, the Logan Paul, the Leon Hart stuff just like went crazy. And yeah, I kind of just dove back into it, dusted off all those binders that I had preserved. I had the original, like, I don't know if you've seen it, but it's like the like Snorlax on the front, or it had like Ash, Misty, and Brock on the binder. It's like the OG binder. Um, and I was like, damn, I need to get them out of these sleeves because it's like the clear, plasticky, like not so safe. Some of the cards, I don't even think they were like in a sleeve themselves. They were just put in there. And I remember like pulling out like unlimited Shining Steelix, unlimited Shining Gyarados. I'm like, oh my gosh, I have a decent sized collection in here. And I went back in and I just like I got some Vault-X binders, made it all nice and pretty, and started like a spreadsheet where I would go and kind of like see what I was missing. And I started looking up prices, and I'm like, whoa, some of this stuff has just like really, really gone up.
Yeah.
And I made some bad decisions in 2020. Oh, 100%.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I was buying stuff I shouldn't have been, and I mean, the thing is, I don't sell as much of my personal collection as I probably should, and I've learned that over the years to grade and sell, and I do a lot of that now. But back then, I was just buying a lot, and
No.
I didn't. I had a moment of ripping packs with modern, but it wasn't as much as most people, I would say. Um, and I don't rip packs at all anymore. Like I don't see the reason for
Yeah.
it. I like if you're doing it for fun with a bunch of friends, which we do from time to time. Like we've had a barbecue at a past, and we all like I went to Costco and I literally got us all Sea and Sky boxes and 151 at the time when it was available before it got crazy,
Yeah.
and we
Yeah.
just had a good time. But yeah, like 2020 was interesting, and when I started, looking at all of this vintage stuff, I started to catch an eye for modern for certain things. Like Vivid Voltage had come out, and that was such a big deal at that time. And my childhood friend that I had mentioned earlier, that we used to play Silver and Gold with, him and I bought 2 boxes of Vivid Voltage, and he pulled the Rainbow Pikachu before we knew what the Rainbow Pikachu was. Like
Yeah.
it was a cool experience, and I was just like, whoa, these Amazing Rays are so cool, and now they're like $2, $3
Yeah,
cards.
exactly.
And then, Sword and Shield, it was cool, but I was still really deep into like the vintage stuff. And it wasn't till Battle Styles where I like my whole perspective on modern changed, and I started looking at, um, you know, the tag team alt arts from Sun and Moon, and yeah, brilliant. Not brilliant, but Battle Styles really like that Tyranitar is what got me into collecting of like what you see on my Instagram now, which is a lot of modern alt arts,
Yeah.
graded PSA 10. I only really grade with PSA. I've actually never sent a submission to CGC or Beckett. Uh, I've heard some mixed things about sending to Beckett because it's like you send into a void and just
Yeah.
wait till you're like, hey, your cards are on the way back.
Pretty much.
Yeah, and I'm challenging myself to do more of that grade optimization kind of thing, and
Yeah.
I see you as someone that does that, and I respect that, and like from like the flipper aspects, which I do a lot of. Like I in 2023's, I think 2022 or 2023 is when I started grading myself. I'm glad I stayed away from like the mess of PSA during 2020 and 2021, um, because man, waiting a year and a half for your cards is just like, what are we
Yeah.
doing here? Like, what's the
Yeah.
point at that point? But yeah, I started grading like 2023. I worked on collecting all alt art from Sword and Shield and PSA 10, and I had just completed that last summer. Actually, took a
That's
while.
awesome. Yeah.
Thank you. Yeah, I would say like 75% of it was probably graded by me. Others I either bought or flipped into, traded, one of those. And I'm very particular. Like if you ever see me at a show or you see me in a card shop, I literally pull out my phone light when I'm pulling up raw cards, even
Yeah.
PSA 10s, dude, because we all know that like these grading companies aren't perfect. They have their own set of standards, and as me as a collector, I kind of have my own. And then every time I'm like considering like looking at someone's like PSA 10 and I'm like scanning it with my flashlight, the first thing they always ask, literally, it's like every single person is like, "Are you planning to send it to Beckett?" And I'm like, "No, no, no, I'm really not." But yeah, that's pretty much it right now. Like, oh, there's Henry right now. It just
Yeah.
literally had coffee and hung out with him at the show. Shout out to him, him and Eric.
Yeah. That's awesome. A lot to parse through. So
Yeah,
it sounds like you started when you came back in purely as a collector, and
yeah,
then recently, maybe in 2023, you started doing kind of the flipping game, maybe a
yeah,
little side hustle started to
yeah.
creep in, um and doing all that. That's cool. One thing that you said was that you were super into Pokemon as a kid, but when it came to
Hmm.
playing a card game, it was Yu-Gi-Oh! And that's
Yeah.
something that I have talked to quite a few people during this month that have said the same thing. Like, yeah, I was really into
Oh, really?
Pokemon, but then when Yu-Gi-Oh came out, I actually played that game. And I
Yeah.
wonder, why do you think that what about Yu-Gi-Oh kind of brought you into playing that, and why
Playing
weren't you
that?
playing like Pokemon at the time? Or was it
Yeah.
just like I know that Yu-Gi-Oh was kind of darker in its themes and stuff, so maybe as people grew up and actually got into and understood like playing games, they were playing Yu-Gi-Oh because it felt more adult.
Yeah. No, that's a great question. And the more I think about it, I think it was like it's a mix of things, right? I feel like Pokemon, I like it depends on how your introduction is into Pokemon, where mine was the video games, and like I see that as the game and not necessarily the trading card game as the game, if that makes sense. And like when Yu-Gi-Oh got popular, I was probably 12 because I think Metal Raiders came out in 2002, if I remember correctly. Like those sets, like Legend of Blue Eyes, those sets came out in like 2001, 2002. And I'm like I'm at that point 11 or 12 years old, reaching into my teens, that angsty teen, and like
Yeah.
maybe like how Yu-Gi-Oh was a little bit more, I guess, I mean, a little bit more PG-13, whereas Pokemon was a little bit more PG.
Yeah.
And obviously, like the Yu-Gi-Oh, like the anime was more like it's about the card game, right? Like it's had a
Yeah.
different perspective. And I think that I really like the artwork on Yu-Gi-Oh cards back then. Like to this day, Chaos Emperor Dragon, Yada, like those cards, like they're embedded in my brain and they're super nostalgic to me. So at some point, I'm gonna own those cards graded. Those are just like just be for the memories. That friend
Yeah.
that I mentioned that I you know, the Revivid Voltage and the Game Boy games that we played, we also played Yu-Gi-Oh together. Like we would have nights where we were up till 3 a.m. just trying to build our decks more competitively. And like we would go to like local tournaments, and it ended up being me and him at the final round, which was cool. It was a good time. But yeah, I think it has to do with just the Yu-Gi-Oh card game was just a little bit more edgy, I guess, at the
Yeah.
time. It made more sense to me. Um, I really enjoyed like that type of artwork. It was like I guess it like if I grew up at a different time, I'd be more into Magic than I would be Pokemon, right? Like I just feel like it's
Mm.
just depends on where you
Because that's
landed
even a
and
little bit more
yeah,
adult.
exactly.
Yeah.
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 So Yu-Gi-Oh probably was like that in between. I'm sure there's a lot of Yu-Gi-Oh players that ended up going to play Magic or vice versa. Like,
Yeah.
I don't even know how Yu-Gi-Oh's played anymore. It sounds crazy. It
Yeah.
almost sounds like I was watching a little bit of your live with Ernie Skater
Mm.
Nesto, and he was talking about that comparison with like chess versus like playing poker, and I remember him saying it's like, yeah, it's like I got you in like the first two like moves and it's game over. Like that's what apparently Yu-Gi-Oh is like right now, and I'm like, dude, there's no way.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, Yu-Gi-Oh has a special place in my heart. I don't actually own any cards. I think I have a pack of it's either Metal Raiders or Chaos, Invasion of Chaos. But I think it's Invasion of Chaos I have, just for the nostalgia. But yeah, I love that game as a kid. Big special place in my heart for sure.
Nice. Yeah, I was gonna ask because Greeny had a question here. Any Yu-Gi-Oh personal collection items, either of you? So it sounds like you don't own any Yu-Gi-Oh cards at the moment. I don't either.
Yeah,
um, I definitely
at one
wasn't
point
as
I
into it
will.
as much as Pokemon back in the day, but
Yeah, I wish I didn't
okay.
get rid of my Pokemon card collect because I know I traded in for Yu-Gi-Oh cards at that point, and I regret it. Like
Yeah.
I have another horror story that happened in that 2010 2012 era. And remind you, these cards weren't worth nowhere near as much as they are now. I'm sure
Yeah,
most of the
yeah.
people watching know this, but I was driving to a friend's house and I had this. It's funny. It's actually a Yu-Gi-Oh tin, and it was full of cards in my trunk. And I I don't know why. I just totally had a brain fart and I thought, oh, this is gonna sound terrible. This is just bulk. I can just recycle this. Well, I toss it into the recycling bin,
Oh no.
and in 2020, I come back to my collection, and I realized I had put my Shining Magikarp, Shining Kabutops. There was like 4 or 5 Shinings in there, not Charizard. All near mint unlimiteds.
Oh.
Gone, gone,
Oh.
gone. They are part of Mother Earth now.
Oh no. Uh
Yeah, it's pain. It's pain. I fear what else was in there because those are the only. I only remember a few of the Shinings being in there, but they weren't first ed. But still, yeah, Shining
yeah.
Raichu. Oh yeah, it still haunts me to this day.
Well, you told the story about the card shop fleecing you for your Blastoise. So Greeny is apparently you're a Blastoise
Yeah,
collector. You have an affinity for Blastoise. That's cool.
yeah.
Um, Greeny also asks, Jake rank top 3 Blastoise arts of all time. Java do the same for Zard.
Okay. Number one is Dark Blastoise.
I'm gonna have
That's
to look it up.
Dark Blastoise Team Rocket. That's a Rita. That's hands down my favorite.
Yeah, that's such a good
I
card.
Yeah, it's so good. And funny enough, I had just talked about this recently, but Arita is my favorite when it comes to illustrating Blastoise. Um, it's he just draws him in a more villainous way every time.
Yeah.
He did him in 151, and that one totally gives me like dark Blastoise vibes. And then also he illustrated the Pop series Blastoise, which is another one of my favorites. But yeah, I will say Dark Blastoise is the number one. And I'm going to be a basic Timmy and say the 151 Blastoise. I really like that artwork. It's just, like I said, it reminds me of Dark Blastoise. And then
Yeah.
my third favorite, I'll have to say, because they've only done Blastoise Shiny twice. That was Plasma Storm and Pokemon Go. Expedition. What am I thinking? I almost lost it. Expedition, where he's like halfway underwater.
Oh yeah, where he's swimming.
Yeah. Where it's kind of funny because his tail looks like his pecker. Like it legit is in the most awkward place ever. But yeah, it's one of my favorite illustrations. And the Feraligatr. I actually just picked that up in a PSA 9 like this
Yeah,
week.
that one's very similar.
Yeah.
Similar style.
And Arita did both. Oh wait, no, Arita did not do the Blastoise. I'm sorry. Arita did the Feraligatr.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Yeah. Top 3 Zards for me, I'm gonna be really cringe in the E Lottery Charizard is probably my favorite.
That's only non-hollow and reverse in English, right? That's a what's her name?
Is it Nishida?
Nishida, yeah.
And then I like the Legendary Treasures Charizard because it's Tokia, and Tokia's one of my favorite illustrators. I think it's Tokia. Yeah, it's Tokia. Tokia is one of my favorite illustrators. And then probably the Crystal Charizard. Because Saito's the GOAT.
The Crystal Guardians one?
The Crystal from Skyridge.
Oh, Crystal Zard. Oh yeah. Oh, that one's good. I love the Legendary Treasures choice. That one was out of the box.
Yeah,
I think that
Tokia is one of my favorite illustrators. So,
speaking of illustrators, I decided I've only put one out, but I'm planning to get back on track. But I started an artist series on alt arts, and that has taken me down a rabbit hole while researching. I felt like I wasn't doing myself or doing the artwork justice by just appreciating the art and not going and looking at all of the art these artists have done. And I started with battle styles, but like just that set alone, like there's some of the artwork these artists have done is just amazing. And I get to learn a little bit more about them. Haigonasuke, who did the Tyranitar, they have a whole Instagram dedicated to doing every single Pokemon in the Pokedex sleeping. And if you look at a lot of Haigonasuke's artwork in the TCG, he likes to illustrate them sleeping or semi-sleeping, like those Chinese exclusives. I forgot who brought them to my attention in Oak's Discord, but yeah, like the Umbreon Espeon. I think it's Umbreon Espeon. Yeah, I think
new
those
ones.
are all. Yeah, those are all Haigonasuke, I believe. I might be pronouncing their name. That's one thing I need to be better about. But yeah. That if you haven't seen Haigonasuke's Instagram, go check him out. He's literally doing every single Kanto. I think he's into Johto at this point. It's really cool.
Do you think, I mean, we were talking a little bit before the live started, just talking about your current job prospects and stuff like that. And so you're in the graphic design, front-end developer, like type of
I code
front
end. So I went to school for design. I actually originally started to go to school for photography. If anyone that knows me like personally, they have my personal Instagram. I did a lot of portrait film photography, like portraits, model, like fashion. I did a lot of that for a few years with my partner. She's also into film. And then while I was in community college, I shifted to graphic design. And while doing that, I started to learn how to code front end, like HTML, CSS, JavaScript, and into JavaScript frameworks like React, which I do now.
Cool.
But yeah, my YouTube has taken a little bit of a slowdown. I was consistent for like nearly four months, and then this role just had me focus on prepping for the interview. And like I said, like preparing for a technical interview is consuming, and
Yeah.
I was desperate for some Pokemon time, so I'm glad that we can do this. But I'm
Yeah.
still in the running. My fingers are crossed. I haven't got a yes or a no yet. I got a cryptic email on Monday that left me a little bit more optimistic. So we'll see.
Yeah. Good luck, man.
And thank you. Yeah.
I'm curious, do you think that your background in kind of a more art-centric professional world is what drew you to the alternate arts initially? And is that, do you think that um what's the word that I'm thinking of? Yeah, you understand what I'm saying.
Yeah, I
Did,
know what you're saying. Like,
yeah.
did like
Did
the
it
art from
influence
these
you
sets
to,
influence me
yeah.
to collect? Yeah, no, I definitely think so. As a kid, I totally tried drawing my ass off. Like, I remember I even created like this. I wish I could. Man, a lot of that stuff probably ended up gone, but just from moving. But I used to like draw silly. I remember drawing Pokemon. I actually remember a time I cut my thumb on a piece of glass, and me and my brother ended up just like spending the rest of the day watching Pokemon, and I would draw Squirtle. Like I wish I could find those. But like I'm terrible at drawing. Like when it comes to like hand drawing, I'm awful. But I have a deep like appreciation for it, and
Mm.
I think that like that transition into why I do like graphic web design now, and why I have such a love for the illustrations these artists are doing in the Pokemon TCG. And I, I feel like I need to do a better job of appreciating the art beyond alternate arts. It's not necessarily about the rarity or the value to me. And like there's still a lot of great art that isn't alternate art, that doesn't get recognized enough. Like there's this new Articuno from Team Rocket, I think. It's not Team Rocket, from Journey Together. It reminds me of like maybe like when you first like encounter Articuno in like Red and Blue. There's just something
Mm.
like super cool about it. It's like an uncommon, I believe. But he's like facing you. It looks such a nice card. But yeah, anyways, the alternate arts, I would definitely like correlate my like appreciation for it based off of just what I do, or like my background in design for sure.
Is your Sword and Shield alternate art, is that collection being carried through into Scarlet and Violet? Are
Yeah,
you
well,
collecting all of the alternate arts in that?
yeah. So I took a big pause on that over the past couple months,
Yeah.
because like this, I have so many. I mean, I know Drew's in here. Quilly is definitely in here, probably giving me shit.
Yeah, cool in
Um,
here,
yeah, Jake hasn't asked me to model yet. Yeah, here we go.
yeah.
That's so funny. Anyways, yeah, I took a big pause. I was doing that, and I still am. Like I'm doing, actually, this is a weird one, but I'm doing the illustration rares from Kanto through Gen 3 in PSA
Okay,
10. And
that's cool.
I've been working on these for, I actually just picked these up today. I got Psyduck and Pidgey.
Nice.
But yeah, I've been working on Scarlet and Violet, but I was working on it when like Blastoise was $30, $40. Alakazam was like $20. A lot of these cards just didn't have the value that they do now. Like they've all just, I mean, you know the game.
Yeah.
The boom really drove, and the illustration rares that have spiked like dramatically. I'm just like, are you kidding me? Like Drowsy was like $3 when Scarlet and Violet base came out. Like
Yeah.
it's wild. So like I don't I try to my best to avoid buying or like grading any of this stuff right now, because first of all, PSA is a mess in my opinion right now. It's just I
Yeah, it's
I
rough.
watch I yeah I really don't care what anyone says. That if Nat's saying like grading hasn't changed at all, I call bullshit. Like I really do. I call it's like I have like conspiracy theories. I think it's bad timing. I think there's been a lot of new graders at PSA, and it came at the worst time, and they've just been overloaded, and I think they're spending way less time looking at these cards than they typically do. And for good reason. They're backlogged. They're raising prices for a reason. They're trying to get through that, and they like I watched, like I was telling you earlier, I was watching Colt's interview with Nat, and they underestimated how much cards people would send from Prismatic by like 3 or 4 times. So like I'm still doing Scarlet and Violet, but I also do a lot of vintage still. People know me for like my alt art collection at this
Mm,
point, and
yeah.
that's I guess I put myself in that box, but I do like I collect gold stars, I collect shinings, I have WotC sets. I still have like all of those WotC cards and binders still in my closet. Like that's not going anywhere. And I've actually been thinking about that more lately. I mentioned this to Drew Quilly, and I was just like, I kind of want to like go back and just like fill the uncommons and commons that I have missing from those sets and just go back and flip through them again because it's been so long. And I might make videos about that at some point. But like when the hobby is like this burning hot, I kind of get the ick. Like I don't know how else to say it. Like I I know that there's a lot of opportunity to make money, but like and there's ways that I do, but I don't, maybe I don't take advantage of it enough because I have this ick when this happens. There's just a lot of stuff that I don't agree with because I'm not into this hobby for the value. Like I sure want to see my collection grow over time. But when I looked at like I think it was maybe a month or two ago, I had always been tracking all of my alt arts because I keep track of the ones that I've completed, but I also keep track of the ones that I have that I want to swap or replace just because they're maybe like week 10s that I graded myself that I'm like, I could either sell this or swap it later. It's better to just hold it and then replace it. So I keep a spreadsheet of all that. And I remember I was like, you know what? I'm going to check the current prices of all of this. And it made me sick to my stomach because I almost feel like James E&G was calling me out and he's like, there's people that have 30 grand in alt arts in their closet and they're not sending it to me. And I know that's me. Like I sure could have made a lot of money. I probably still can. I just found out today from my friend Yvonne Pokineer that Rayquaza VMAX just sold for like 2K. I'm like, what are we doing? Like there are so many cards in that range that have been out within just like the past couple of years, but there's cards from WotC that are still half that. And I'm like, sure, the demand's different, but I'm just like, there's opportunity elsewhere, which is basically what I'm saying with like going back and just, I try to look at places where no one else is looking all of the time. And that's sometimes hard to do because like as a collector, I have really strict like like goals. Like I don't necessarily stray away too often. And it's times like these where I have to adapt and be like reevaluate, or I just take a pause entirely and I just kind of become a spectator and have my popcorn bucket because there's literally something going on every day. Like there are so many wild things happening every day. Like funny enough that I don't know if you saw that like Pop Six Tyranitar EX from Pop Series One, the EX. Uh, it's
Oh yeah,
like
yeah.
yeah. I found out that that was a PSA 8 that got pretty much like cut. It was a little bit, it had like some, I don't know how they did it. They did a really good job, but they were able to cut the corners almost to the point where it's like perfect. Regraded it, it got the 10 and sent it to James. It got auctioned for 10.5. And I'm sure, like, I actually texted James about this and I was like, he was like, is it me or does the 10 also have a little bit of whitening? I think it does. It's just, you can tell that it's the same card, by the way, because they were able to, like, you can see the hollow patterns, the swirls in the same place. But
Mhm.
it's just like, people are doing so much, like, shady shit in this hobby right now. And
Yeah.
it just, it's gross. And I see I see a lot of the negativity right now, so I've kind of like started blocking out the noise. Like I think it was Ernie that also said that in one of the Spicy Boys lives. He's like literally had the same kind of feelings as I do, and it's just like I'm exhausted of it. And I think I've been so like hyper engaged in this hobby that like it's getting to me like mentally. So I kind of just took a pause and started blocking out the noise, and it's been great. It's been fantastic.
So how do you, or I guess it's a how and a why question, but I'll phrase it as a how. But how do you, when you see the prices, because a lot of the alternate arts you were buying when the market was down, and
Yeah.
then the market goes crazy, and
Yeah.
it's like, how in that moment do you look at it and say, okay, maybe I sell because at some point these are going to come back down, and then I'll just
Sure.
rebuy them and I'll make the money now and I can refinish the collection later. Is there a reason why you're like, nope, don't want to do that? I got the collection and it's not
Yeah,
going anywhere.
no, it's a fair question. It's like I'm leaving money on the table, right? It's
Potentially
also,
because
yeah, it's
yeah,
potentially, it's, yeah,
yeah,
you don't know
yeah.
where these things are going to go, especially in markets like today. Um, I think it's a mix of the time and energy that I had already put into getting that collection together with those specific cards. Like there are certain cards that I remember like how I got them, who I got them from, um, that I can't see myself letting go because maybe it has a little bit more sentimental value, but also like I'm very, like I told you, I'm very picky about my PSA 10s,
Hmm.
and it's really hard to find some of these cards in as good condition as I have. Now, yes, they're in PSA holders, but I would feel confident that a lot of these are really strong cards. Like something that I don't agree with that PSA lets fly is print lines on the backs of
Mm.
cards. And I think they're like, it's like my pet peeve. So like I have a like hard time seeing myself letting go of some of these cards that are already like kind of hard to grade. Like Giratina V is not an easy card to grade. Like I trust me, like I have looked at so many of those cards and they're nearly always off center. I think it's one of the lower pop like big cards right now. If you say lower pop and just in relatively, but there's just certain cards that I just don't see myself letting go and parting ways with just to go spend that time and energy trying to source it again at a later time.
Yeah,
I'd rather just move on to my next opportunity where other people aren't looking.
yeah.
When alt arts were booming, this like Sword and Shield, like I want to say this was like almost this time last year at this point, right? Because like this was around when like 151 Japanese was like selling for like $50, $60 a box. We had that huge reprint. Alt art started going up like crazy, and I started to pivot more, even heavier into Scarlet and Violet raw singles that I could grade later. And that's when I went really deep on 151. I graded like 6 Alakazams, a ton of Blastoises, a ton of Venusaurs, and I always end up being the person that's a little too early to the market high.
Mm.
And like I can see where trends can, like I'm not saying I see into the future or anything, but what I'm saying is like I know I feel like I have a good eye on what's going to be popular later, and I just like I feel like I should probably do better about optimizing that from like a financial standpoint, but like I end up selling into the market too soon. Um,
Yeah,
and I've learned to hold back a lot more over the past couple of years, and that's what I did with 151. I bought a lot of them, I graded a lot of them, and like I was able to like quintuple my money in those cards just because of how the market reacted to them over the past 3 to 4
yeah.
months. Um,
I'm curious.
yeah,
What do you think about the company? What is it called? MBA that like basically like grades the condition of the grade or
yeah.
like grades the grade.
I
First of all, are you the CEO of that company?
I
It sounds like you
should
pretty
be.
much do the same thing.
I genuinely I at this point I should be. I also think that that shit's a joke.
Yeah,
I'm sorry. Like you need double validation. Like come on now. Like I always say buy the card not the grade. Like there are so many PSA 10, CGC 10, Beckett 10s, black labels that don't deserve the grade. Like and opposite. Like I've helped a friend turn a CGC black and white Gem Mint 10 into a PSA 10 that doubles its card in price. We took a Shining Gyarados that he bought on eBay 3K, turned it into 6. And like there's opportunities if you're just looking at the card and not necessarily the grade. I used to buy a lot of AGS cards, 9.5s that I cracked and sent to PSA to get the PSA 10, which I would consider the new, uh, basically tags the new AGS at this point. It's just
yeah.
they have a flashier slab. Like
Takes
I
the AGS that has better marketing,
Yeah, no,
basically.
seriously. Yeah,
Yeah,
no. And all yeah, it's all that's all it is really. Um and yeah, and the like another thing is like I don't like I don't it doesn't really necessarily matter what label you're collecting, what grading company you collect, as long as you're just a little bit if you're to collect, it doesn't matter. Like it doesn't matter if it's got whitening or not, but like I'm just a special I don't know special case when it comes to that, and it's almost it's a double-edged sword because like I'll miss opportunities because I'm like, oh, this isn't the best copy, and I should have just bought it and then swapped it later. And I've learned to do that more or trade
yeah.
into it. So you know, But
Gotcha.
yeah, that
Okay.
NBA, I think it's kind of corny to me. I would never see a reason to. But you know, there's a thing that's a tax, right? Like as a vendor, as someone that's gonna flip that, like that NBA gold or NBA black is like that's gonna make you a whole lot more money than without it, and it's crazy to me. It's like a swirl tax at this point, but just compounded.
Yeah.
Oh hell, there's a lot of people in the chat.
Greeny had another question. What are Jodo Jake's goals with YouTube, hobby, career? Also, did you get the job? So we talked about the job a little
Yeah,
bit, but
still
do you,
waiting on the job. Fingers crossed. It's a
do you have
slow
any
process.
do you have any goals this year? I guess in some ways I've been asking like, did you have any goals coming into this year? And then when the market exploded, did any of those goals change? And like, what are your goals now?
Yeah, I wanted to vend um, a local show. I've never actually vended any show. I buy and sell through Discord, through Facebook, and what I really enjoy the most is the face-to-face experience. That's why, like one of my first big experiences at a big show was Collecticon Long Beach, where I actually hung out with Greeny, Old School Nick, and DNA. I don't know if you know
Hmm.
DNA at all,
Yeah,
but like, yeah, I hung out with those guys, and it kind of like, I don't know, it inspired me to want to vend at some point, and I never pulled the trigger on it. And right now, I don't want to. I think the vendor culture right now gives me the ick, and I don't want to add to that. But I really enjoy the like face to face experiences, and I feel like I it's one of those things that I feel like I have the skill set for to be a positive, a net positive. I like to hope that I'd be a net positive for that part of the hobby. Um, and as far as like YouTube, I've really just enjoyed interacting more with the hobby, and Oak was like one of the people that motivated me to finally like pull that trigger. I can't remember, it was a long time ago. He was talking in either a live with Greeny or somebody, and he goes, you know, I like to subscribe to people that I want to see make content, and Oak was my very first subscriber on YouTube before I made a single video.
that's
And
awesome.
yeah, like Oak's Discord is the best. I like love that whole. Like it's one of the least toxic discords I've ever been in. Um, I feel like we all have our own opinions, but none of us are trying to shove it down each other's throats, and I really appreciate that. Um, but yeah, as far as YouTube like goals, I just want to be able to interact more with the hobby and meet more people, share my experiences, my knowledge and background on English, learn more about other parts of the hobby or even parts of like Pokemon itself, whether that's learning more about the artist, sharing more about that, or just showcase my collection. Like I really enjoy like the idea of archiving my collection through videos and like being able to look back at it that, you know, 10, 15 years from now.
Yeah.
Because our as collectors we evolve and our thoughts and opinions change, and it'll be really interesting to be able to look back at that. And like more importantly, just like I don't call myself an investor whatsoever. Like I do have my own sealed collection. It's, you know, nothing compared to most, but like um, just keeping track of that without looking at TCG markets and talking about, you know, sealed collection. But I that whole space is also driving me crazy. Like I feel like I've blocked out all that kind of content. Like I'm so, and it's funny, some of my like good friends in the hobby, like that's a lot of their content, right? Like that's what they make, and I respect it because they are consistent, they grind. They're like, I Tucker's the homie, I don't know if you know Pokey Beard at all, but he's killing it. Like he started doing vendor POV, but his whole like spiel is like TCG player, keeping track of like Monday markets, and I support the hell out of him, but I can't make that kind of content. Like
Yeah.
I need something that like inspires me a little bit more, and TCG charts just don't do that. Like,
Yeah. Yeah. No, I
it's a
agree.
little brain numbing. But like I like sharing the history on certain things. I made a video where I actually helped someone. I don't know if you've seen this, Java, but I met someone at a coffee shop with a few of my friends in the Cards and Coffee group, where he had his childhood collection. He had three first ed Zards. He had all base first ed, like an
Yeah.
incredible collection. And I helped this stranger that I met at a coffee shop grade his entire like Charizard collection, all of his first ed Blastoises, his Venusaurs, like a ton of stuff. I made him like almost 12 grand at the end of this, and it was
Yeah.
someone that I had just met at a coffee shop. And of course I took a small percentage of that, but like I helped him navigate that, and I educated him and helped him. Like this isn't the first person I did that with. I helped people that almost got taken advantage of from vendors because they're offering 50, 60%, or because they know that this person doesn't know what they have. And I try my best to, that's like one of my favorite things about this hobby is helping new collectors, or just getting them to have that first good experience, even if they're like so new they don't even care about it that much.
Yeah.
Like just so that they have a positive experience, because it's so easy in this hobby right now to, through like certain rip and shipping streams, or just like to be taken advantage of, and just, you know, have that one bad experience and never come back. And
Yeah.
it's all about keeping this community thriving and not trying to make a quick buck.
Yeah. I'm curious, as someone that frequents collecticons and stuff. I'm curious. You mentioned that vendor culture right now kind of gives you the ick.
Yep.
What about vendor culture, if you don't mind sharing, do you not enjoy or do you think is wrong at the moment with vendors at these different shows?
Um, well, I guess calling people civilians, for one thing. I don't know if you've heard that
I
term.
haven't. That's
Like
yeah.
vendor to vendor is like, you're not going to give me the civilian price, right? Like basically like you're saying like, because also a vendor, you got to give me the right price because I'm also a
Mm,
vendor, or because, and not a civilian. Like the whole like vendor to buyer interaction is really skewed in my opinion. They're like, and that's coming from the person on the other side of the table, obviously. But I have a lot of vendor friends, and like it's not necessarily the entire vendor culture. There's a lot of great people that are vending, like that I respect and stand by and support. But then there's some that are just like constantly lowballing, and I'm like, I just funny. I had this conversation today, and it's like I'll have my small Pelican case, and I'll be walking, and there'll be a vendor like, hey, are you selling? And I'm like, no. Or like if they're like, hey, you're selling, I'm like, all right, sure. What are you interested in? And I'm like, oh yeah, okay, this is what market is. And he's like, oh okay, I'll offer you 70%. And I'm like, you asked me what you want to buy. Like here it is. Like there's no, in my mind, I'm not going to sell you something at 70% if I have the opportunity to sell it for way more. And I think that comes with just knowledge and experience in this hobby. So there's just a lot of people that don't know that they can get full market for something. And there's this like expectation, because I'm a vendor, I can offer you X percentage. I get that. Like you have to make money, and no one's going to offer you 100%. But when you're in a booming market and someone's offering you 60 to 70%, I'm just like, what are we doing?
yeah.
And I think there's just, right now there's a lot of vendors that I think have, I don't know, that right now, like I don't really dabble in like to that like super high end market, right? Because that's just
Mm,
not,
yeah.
that's not me. But like when vendors are getting together to group buy a single card that they can flip because they can find some whale that will pay it, and it's just like, damn, I'm like, this is cringe. And at some point these vendors are going to, get a taste of their own medicine when it comes to overspending, and then all of these high-end whales that have control because they dictate what they want and when they want it. They're gonna fall apart a little bit. um, but yeah, I just, right now vendor culture has just been kind of gross lately. People that have gotten big egos, now they feel like they own you in a certain way, that I'm just like, I don't have to buy from you. You have to remember that. Like I'm all about like being fair and working with people that are just realistic. And there's a lot of people that have gotten really cocky in this space. I'm not going to name any names because I'm
Yeah,
not here
yeah,
for the drama, but there's a lot of that. And I've been blocking it out. I don't support a lot of certain vendors now, like Instagram, none of it. Like I stay in my own lane at this point.
yeah. Okay. Um, I'm curious. So, if we go back to kind of the artwork side of thing, the illustrator
Sure.
side of thing, um, do you have a favorite illustrator, and or do you have an illustrator that if they announced tomorrow they were going to be in, I'm not going to say California, so I'll say New York City, you would try and get that next flight to get out there to get a signature or to meet them because you just
So there's only one thing I actually want sketched. I'm not a signature person like
mm,
whatsoever. Like that space isn't for me. But I do have the legendary collection box topper Dark Blastoise. And I would love for Arita to just do a massive sketch, maybe adding Squirtle and Wartortle to like have the three, and maybe a Blastoise head or something like that, and just do a signature. That's literally the only thing, and I would get it authenticated without the grade, and it would just sit on a shelf somewhere.
yeah.
I think Arita's just like it's a pretty weak answer, but like I said, like Arita's always illustrated Blastoise, my favorite Pokemon, um, and I think that would be a perfect like sentimental piece that I would love to add. And it's a box topper, which is pretty fun.
Yeah.
But yeah,
Yeah.
I think that would be that one time that I would do it. Um, I can't see myself doing that for honestly anyone else.
Okay. Yeah, I think Tokia. Tokia does a lot of signatures, I think, or does
Tokia.
a lot of those events. But
Which is there a card that comes to mind?
oh, I mean the Charizard from before, the legendary treasures,
Oh yeah, that
legendary
card
treasures
is so
Charizard.
good. Yeah,
Um, but they've done a lot of stuff that's super cool. Uh,
that one reminds me kind of like a. I mean, it's a little bit more zoomed up, but the EX Dragon Charizard. I think it's EX Dragon. It's really close up. It's like doing like a
oh yeah,
flamethrower. I love that, and I'm not a big Zard fan, but that one in particular, that whole I think they do the whole evolution line,
yeah, that
and
one's
I'm a
cool.
big fan of those. Yeah.
Um, let's see.
Who's Arita? I love it.
um, Yeah, I agree with this. I think there's a lot of people, a lot of the vendors that I typically interact with are pretty cool. But I think that there is definitely a culture around, groups of vendors that like what you're talking about. Like they're just
Yeah,
above
it's
others because they have the ponchos and
yeah.
the
Oh gosh,
yeah.
don't get me started on ponchos.
Yeah.
No, I'm also sick of the vendors that are like, oh, this is really hard to go, man. This is part of the PC, and I'm like, this was someone's card that you probably bought like a week or two ago. Like,
Yeah.
there's so many like little, I don't know, like I said, some of my best friends in the hobby are vendors, but there's just that handful. I'm not putting them all in the bucket, but there's just a handful that I've been less inclined to stick around their table.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Cooley has a question. If you had to sell almost your entire collection tomorrow, so let's say you had to hold on to three things from your collection, you had to sell the rest. What are the three things or that you would
Uh,
keep?
yeah. It would be my Blastoise collection that I couldn't let go of. I think that in my base, I have a potentially shadowless base set blister with the
Mm.
Blastoise art. Um, I traded a bunch of modern for that. I remember trading like Champions Path ETBs and maybe a few other things, some singles, but yeah, that I couldn't let go of. That's just like I'm big on collecting nostalgia, and I think that's where a lot of my sealed collection comes from, especially with like the modern stuff. Like I really think that 151 is probably going to be looked back as like, wow, it was right in front of us, and I didn't buy enough of that. Like it's just that set that regardless of how you feel, it has so many factors that I see it being so successful in the long run. it has that master set feeling that just no other set has. Like when 151 came out, I can't tell you who wasn't trying to do like some sort of master set. I still don't have anything like that. Like I just have the SIRs and the illustration rares. But yeah, I would say that it would have to be my first edition PSA 9 Blastoise. It would be my it's all Blastoise, I think. It's just yeah, that base set Blastoise blister, my first edition base set PSA 9 Blastoise, and probably my Team Rocket because it's my favorite illustration in the entire TCG. Anything else can go. The alt arts, all of it can go if it really came down to it, but I don't plan to.
Yeah. Is it all English for you, or do you collect Japanese stuff as well?
Yeah,
Or
I do. I do collect Japanese. I have a complete McDonald's set.
oh,
The
nice,
McDonald's e-reader
with the
promos,
Squirtle and
PSA
the
10s.
yeah,
Yeah, I don't have the energies. I plan to. I'd love to get them all framed. Seeing what Squirtle has done over the past couple of months is wild. I did not know that card was almost $1,800. Like,
oh no, yeah, I've been paying
yeah,
attention.
dude,
Yeah.
what the hell? I got that card for like 350, 400 from a friend of mine, Jason. He's I don't know if you've heard of Slowdown, but he literally. I'm gonna put you on. Actually, he travels to Japan. Probably
Yeah,
you
he
might
does.
know him.
I think he's vended with us before.
Yeah, yeah. Jason's
Yeah,
the
yeah,
man.
yeah.
Yeah, he's a good friend of mine. He's in Houston right now. I was actually just texting him, but I picked up my Squirtle from him. I picked up my Squirtle and Pikachu from him from that set. And then Pokeneer in the chat, I actually picked up the rest from him. He had pulled them from packs a couple of years back, graded them. They all 10.
Nice.
I love that. I love that set. I love Japanese exclusive promos. Like I have like I think it's 10th anniversary, Lugia, Mewtwo, those cards. I would love to have. I think it's like the second season prize Mew. It's like it's known as the Window Mew.
Yeah, yeah.
That card just took off, so I'm probably gonna be stepping away from that for a while. But I have the Rayquaza Arita from that same series
Nice.
in a PSA 10. Like I love those types of exclusive Japanese. I have the red and green gift set, Moltres, Zapdos, and
Oh yeah, I love those. Yeah.
Articuno. Love those. That's like my graded. And then when it comes to like Japanese sealed, I have 151 and Rocket right now. Those are probably the only two sets I'll collect. And like that's just because of how I feel about nostalgia and where I see those sets going in the future.
Yeah, I think it was Bierski. Oh, I forget when I was talking to him, but I think he recently graded the Larvitar from that set, the Hollow Larvitar, in a
Yeah.
CGC Pristine, which is like that's pretty sick.
That is pretty sick.
Especially for something. I think it was just in a binder collection or something.
Oh,
Neat.
really?
Yeah, so pretty
Damn.
pretty cool.
Yeah, I love that Larvitar. It's like he's eating a rock cookie.
Yeah.
It's so good.
Let's see. So I've been asking people two questions. Everyone's gotten the same two questions. I think I've forgotten a couple people, but sorry about that. The first one is hot take. So we've already had a couple hot takes tonight, but if you have a hot take, and the next one is like an act of kindness. So something you either witnessed between two people, something someone did for you, or something that you did for somebody else. Trying to spread a little bit of positivity in a very negative space right now. So
no, I love that. Okay, hot take. Being a collecting frontier for a new grading company is the dumbest thing you can do.
collecting frontier.
And I
What do you
mean
mean?
that like people that are become like a fanboy of a new grading company and see that, and so like I see a lot of that with Tag, and
Yeah.
there's people that have a lot of money into Tag that speak very fondly of it, and I had mixed feelings about Tag from the get-go. I mean, Josh Greeny had such an interesting situation with Tag, and these companies are all going to make mistakes. But I think like putting your eggs all in one basket for a company that has like this much of the market is really dangerous. I I understand that there's always going to be innovation, and I think that it's great having competition. But when you start saying like, "Hey, these cars are going for way more than PSA," or "Look at the turnaround times," I'm like, you're looking at like it's grapes and grapefruit. They're two different things. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, and I see tag as just like I told you earlier. I think it really is like just the new AGS with better marketing. That's like best way it could be put. I think it's a good way to make money quickly in a market like this where it's hot, but I don't think in a bearish down market that a company like Tag does anything for you as a long-term collector. If you're just
Yeah.
grading cards because you like the way it looks in the plastic, go for any of these companies. Go for GMA. Go for HGA, whatever these random grading companies. Do it with your mom and pop company, like whatever. Put it in your own piece of plastic. You can buy it on Amazon, whatever. But like if you see it as something that's going to grow in value, you have to go with a company that's tried and true. And Tag came out of the woodworks, and it's got a lot
Yeah.
of money. It's got a lot of marketing money behind it, and sure they're gonna look hot and flashy, but like I've been told that some of these Tag offices where they have like their conference rooms are just filled with people's cards. Like that seems dangerous to me. Like they've had a lot more people grading there recently, and they're heavily impacted. And I think that that causes a lot of issues with every grading company, especially for a little company like that. I like I said, like I am always going to like keep an ear to these new grading companies, but at the same time with a huge grain of salt, because at the end of the day, if you're here to like if you're here to make money, you're going with any company that's going to get you the fastest return in the current market that makes you money. Whether that's a quick CGC gem mint black white label, you get your return back for I don't know. I think Quilly's sending his cards to CGC right now through Fanatics for like $8 a card. That's easy money right now. But if you're like a long-term collector and you want to have like me, like I enjoy having a cohesive collection. I only own one BGS slab, and it's only because it's like a pop two, really rare card that you don't see a lot. Um, but I like to have like cohesive collection, and I'm gonna keep it all with PS. I don't even like PSA's label that much. I truly don't. I think that their acrylic can be better. Like CGC has a better acrylic, but I see that PSA has been around for a long time, and I see how much they carefully scale and how they make small design decisions that make a better user experience their for their customer. Like to think that like in 2020 we didn't have a PSA app where you can scan your like your cards and then just create your own submission is crazy to me. Like they're doing a lot, and I love how Nat like carefully integrates AI but doesn't just go and like lay in bed with it because it's so easy to do right now. And I
Yeah.
think that there's some there's gonna we're in that place where like as like these grading companies are evolving at a very fast rate, and I think that like PSA is really careful about how much they move because it can be dangerous for their brand. And we've seen grading companies move too fast, and CGC is a good example of that. Just a couple of years ago, changing their grading scale, changing their label, it's a lot all at once, and yet they lost a lot of customers with that. And we've seen them pull the trigger on things they shouldn't have with grading test prints and alpha, beta, gamma, delta, like all of that stuff. Like like PSA decided not to grade those for reasons. Like they had their own reasons why they didn't grade that, and I love that about companies that they don't just take the flashiest thing and say, "Hey, look what we graded," because we can. Like I just and it bit them in the ass. CGC had to. They did the right thing. They're paying people back, but like, yeah, I trust tried and true, and I see PSA here for the long time. So if I'm gonna keep my collection in a piece of plastic, it's gonna be PSA.
Yeah. Polefather's gonna have to stop with these.
Those who
Those who
know,
know
know.
know. He says it
Dude,
all the time when Tay comes up. It's like, bro, just spill the sauce, man. If you
dude,
know, tell everyone else.
it's I. Yeah. There's a lot of bullish people on Tag that have money into Tag. Let's just put
Oh
it that
yeah,
way.
for sure. Yeah. Um Yeah, I pretty much agree with all that. I think yeah.
Because you
I'll
grade with
I'll
them all, Java.
basically
You like to like I see it, and I see why you grade with them all. Like
yeah.
you're able to optimize based on turnaround times, the level of grade you expect. Like you're not going to send any card to PSA if you think a card has a chance at a black label. You're going to send it to Beckett and go for that black label. And like I respect and appreciate that. That's you actually are inspired. Quilly does it too. Like Drew, you guys inspired me to do that a little bit more, and I'm considering it when I need to because I know I have the eye for these for the a strong 10. And there's cards that I think that I have in my alt art collection that I could probably send to Beckett and have a shot at a BGS black label. Do I want to do it? Not really, but would I do it for raw cards that I can see, hey, this has a shot, or even like just flipping into CGC pristine 10s because I see pristine 10s as like still a PSA 10. Like I they're the same to me. There's sometimes a little difference, but like the black and white label, that's where things get 9 like in my opinion. But like you're optimizing based on certain expectations for what the card's going to grade, how fast you're going to get it back, who's your buyer. Like there's all of
Yeah,
these things you're
I'm
considering.
not holding anything
No, no,
long term.
it's
So
here and
I'm
gone.
not thinking
Yeah,
about like if
yeah,
my collection's going to appreciate in value. Like
yeah.
if I was thinking about that, I still think I wouldn't mind a CGC pristine collection.
Sure.
But the tried and true, like you're saying, would be the company that's been around grading cards for 25 years already and is going to keep doing so in the future.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think the people that think that tag is, I have so many comments on the tag video that I did of people saying that like tag is the future, tag's going to be number one, tag's going to take over from PSA, tag's going to do this and that, and
Dude,
it's like you're
you
delusional.
have, yeah, like
That is
honestly,
delusion.
like, yeah, it is delusion. And it's because of the way they market it. They really show themselves in a way that like they're here to stay and they're here to come at PSA and all these other grading companies. Like I know people I know investors that are into tag that are buying PSA slabs, cracking them to put them in tag cards. Even if they grade lower, they're like, hey, look, PSA misgraded this. But if like they get a higher grade, it's like, oh, look what PSA did wrong. It's like they can't win. Like they're painting not even just PSA, but these other companies in a way that's like, oh, they're not giving the most accurate grade. I'm like, bro, you graded a dented card and still gave it a 10. Like, get out of here. I don't want to hear it. Like,
Yeah.
their AI assisted is what Nat says, and that's what I agree with. Like, there are ways we can adapt and like or adopt AI that makes sense, but I think there always has to be a human element when it comes to these grading companies.
Yeah.
There's so much room for error. You have to remember these learning models are engineered by people. People make mistakes. At the end of the day, the
Yeah.
stuff's not perfect,
Well,
and won't be for a long time.
that's one of the things that I said in my rant that I did like a month ago now, was that even if like, I mean, they say that their consistency is like way better. It's like plus or minus 3 or some nonsense. That's probably not true because they've never actually proven it like with data or video or anything.
Yeah,
But even if it was the scale that they're using, like what is determined to be a 10, what is determined to be a 9, that's still created by a human. That's not
yeah,
like
yeah.
magically
No,
created by a
exactly.
robot to be like more true than any other grading scale. The scale is still human developed.
Yeah, and
So yeah,
one other thing that I didn't like about tag is like I think depending on like it's been a while since I looked into this, but I talked to Drew and a few others about it. But like depending on the tier that you send it at, it goes through additional scanning to get like like I don't know if it's like the point system I think that you can add,
the 1,000
but
point. Yeah.
yeah, but like it tells me that there are two different learning models that they're using, and or one's built on top of the other, and I'm like, why isn't all it should be universal. Like there shouldn't be like just because you're adding that number to the slab doesn't mean you should have to pay for an additional model that's a little different, because that tells me that you're not grading it at the same level across the board on every card. It depends on what tier you're sending it at how much it's actually being scanned or looked at through their learning models. And to me, that's a red flag.
Yeah.
That's them trying to just make more money off of you, not give you the more accurate grade. Like that's if they're giving you an accurate grade, it should be that way with any tier. Doesn't matter.
Yeah. And if it truly is a learning model, like are we not worried that early graded tag cards are going to be worse graded than future graded tag cards? And
Exactly.
then if that's the case, we've already seen higher end cards not be allowed to be regraded at tag. They will just send the card back and be like, they won't send it through the system again. So it's like, wait a minute. If I got a really, let's say like a Poncho Pikachu from my account, and they know that it's the same Poncho Pikachu, but I graded it a year ago, and apparently the scale's better or the system is
It's improved.
more accurate now, but I can't regrade the card because you somehow like put a fingerprint on the card or something and know that I'm trying to send it through one more time. Like it just seems so
Yeah, it
weird.
like
Like,
locks. Yeah, it's they're basically locking your card out of being regraded, and I think, I mean, yeah, and also, I actually want to answer Thrifty's question. It's unrelated, but it's just like,
yeah,
Jake,
yeah.
have you ever tried doing graded card review with Beckett at shows? No, but I plan to. Um, right now, I haven't been sourcing as much. That's like sourcing raws right now in this market. It's tough, even in a like really dense area like me. Like it's too competitive right now. I had my avenues that are starting to dry up because of how hot things are, and I'm waiting for things to calm down before I do that. Like I barely buy at this point. Like these are the first few modern slabs that I've probably picked up in quite some time, that I actually paid cash for.
Yeah.
And then like when it comes to raws, it takes up so much time trying to like get behind a table, or half the time these vendors are already grading, and card shops are dry because they can get more money from vendors. So like I plan to, Thrifty, like I really want to send some cards to at like in person and have them graded at Beckett, and I'll probably do some of my slabs to see what happens. But
Yeah.
yeah, it's on my mind. It's on my bucket list for the year for sure.
Yeah, there's she told me to try it when we were in Chicago because I had two pristine Umbreon SARs from Terrastol Festival.
Okay.
And I think the only thing off was maybe centering or something like that. She was like, "You should try this because a friend of mine got a bunch of black labels doing this with their pristine tens," and I didn't do it. I probably should have. But the thing that was crazy to me, so one thing that I do think you can easily use AI for, or at least computer grading to some degree, is centering. It's
Yeah.
an easy
Yeah.
measurement, and running that through a system seems fine to me. So I cracked a BGS Pristine 10 where centering was the 9.5, and I sent it to Tag to see
Okay.
the centering on the dig report, what they have it measured at. It was literally 50-50, 49-51, and it didn't get 10.
Really.
It's like how can it be that perfect and not get the 10
The
grade of
10.
centering at
Yeah.
Beckett? Like that's
Yeah,
insane.
there's no way. And
Yeah.
so here's the thing. I bet if you sent that back Java once or twice more,
It probably
it
would have
would get
had, yeah.
like, I don't know if you know about the Gold Star mud kit that went through like 5 rounds of
No.
plastic, but there was a PSA 10 mud kit that went into a 9.5 BGS, that went into a pristine BGS, that went into a black label BGS. So there's a
Wow.
black label mud kit, and it went through so many rounds. I know people. I'm not going to say their names. They're friends of mine, but they're a little too close with some Beckett people, and they have turned a lot of cards into black labels. Latios, Magikarp, Whale Lord, all these big tag teams that have become black labels. And it's because they're able to send maybe through the right person. There's some funny business there, but that goes with any grading company. I can only imagine what happens with sports at PSA, and like
Yeah.
there's if you send a card a certain amount of times, sooner or later it's going to get the number you want. Like with any grading company, that goes for PSA too. Like I said, we've cracked some cards, resent, gets a lower grade, next time gets a higher grade. It happens.
Yeah.
And I think what Tag is trying to do is to fix that. And I understand the reasoning behind that, but I think their logic in doing it is actually broken itself too. Like there's at the end of the day, people want the 10, and that's like the common collector just wants the 10. I can't tell you how many times I see someone I'm sure you see it too, Java. Like when you were vending, like you see people just go for the 10 and don't even look at the card. Like they
Yep,
just don't. Yeah, it's
for
just
sure.
how it is. And um, I think begging for a perfect, real, accurate grade isn't necessarily what these people really want. Like it's just not. Like
Well,
I don't
I think
care if
most of the companies do it well enough at the top of the scale.
sure.
Like
Yeah.
most of them, a 10
Yes.
is going to be a very nice looking card. Might not be perfect, but
Yeah.
it's going to be
It's not.
a nice looking card.
It's an accurate grade. Yeah, don't get me wrong. I think these grading scales across all these companies do their best with what they have, and I think at the end of the day, they're actually trying to give the most accurate grade. They're like, people are looking at these cards for less than a minute. I don't know what Dan's like research did, what he did about like how fast he actually thinks they're looking at them, but they're going through like PSA is like doing numbers like every day, like crazy numbers. And you look at Tag and they're doing like a fraction of that, or these other grading companies. So like they're trying to optimize the best way they can, and that's why PSA is trying to do some of that centering stuff. Like, and I see
Yeah.
why. And like me and Drew are actually going back and forth about this, and like I like the idea of PSA implementing something like that where they're able to give a breakdown and a point system of their centering to give the grader an idea of whether this can or cannot be a 10. But I also think that they should take that with a grain of salt, like they should with any AI, and be like, I'll let the grader make the final call,
Yeah.
because it might, depending on the border styles, you're looking at e-reader versus just like a basic yellow WotC card. Like there are some things and like you have to consider. But yeah, like I think things like that, which just they're moving towards making that grade more accurate, is ideal. I just think we're as a species, we don't care if it's like a 986 or a 987. Like we just want the 10.
And I think I forget who I was talking to about this, but I I mentioned too is I've already seen people comparing their grades. Like someone will get like they'll send like a high end card in, and they'll be like, "Oh, mine got a PSA 8 with, 3 dings on the dig report, and but this PSA 10 has 6 dings on the dig report. Why did he get a 10 and I got an 8?" And they're already doing like these comparisons with the dig reports of like, oh, well, you gave them the information and the information doesn't look very good. So like the transparency in some ways is gonna bite them in the butt because
Yeah, that's true.
yeah,
Yeah,
so
that's very
I
true.
don't know. Um it's all very interesting, the grading space. Um so let's do the positive interaction. So something that someone did for you, something that someone did uh that you did for somebody, or something that you observed between two people.
I mean, yeah, I think Drew, he did something really cool for all of us not too long ago. We have like a cards and coffee crew, and Quilly's brother, he does these like etched wood designs, and they're like he basically like uses this burning tool to carve into wood. And I'm gonna grab it. Give me like 1 second. I'll be
Yeah,
right
yeah.
back.
Yeah. What's up, guys? If you have any questions for Jake, post them in the chat. Hope everyone's doing well tonight. What's up, Shug? What's up, Pokeneer, Pofather, Thrifty? Thank you guys for being here.
Okay. All right. Two things actually. They're both from Drew. That's so funny. Okay, so Drew's brother did this for me,
Oh, nice.
and he gifted us all these wooden panels with our favorite Pokemon. Such a thoughtful gift, and I hate how thoughtful this man is because he does it every damn time. He also gifted me this for my birthday. This is a Medua sketch
Oh yeah, those
of
sketches on
Blastoise.
those are so cool.
Yeah. So these are like lifelong collection pieces that will never leave my collection. Uh, Super thoughtful. And then I actually just gifted Henry his favorite Pokemon. I graded a Topps War Turtle PSA 9 non
Oh,
hollow,
nice.
and he's a big fan of like the stage one Pokemon, and he loves like the angsty teens of like Charmeleon, War Turtle, and I was like, why not? This is like a perfect gift. So yeah, I gave him that, and I gave his friend Eric one of the limited graded guards because I can't just give one person a gift and not the other.
Yeah,
I think you're frozen, or is it me?
you're good on my end. Am I frozen on your
Oh,
screen?
you're yeah, you're frozen. Yeah, you were frozen there for a second. No, yeah, I
Okay.
think it's just me then.
Okay.
But yeah, those are some really cool gifts. I like, and like anytime, anytime I'm at a card show, I really do my best, like, like kind of eavesdrop when people are like, just like contemplating something or need help with something. I honestly try to do my best to give them my thoughts and opinion on something if they're looking to grade something that they just bought raw, or like they're not sure if this is the right price, or like should I spend this much on this, and I'm like I don't know. I try to help, and that happened once. Like I helped these two guys that were about to sell their like entire shadowless first ed like shoebox full of non-hollow first ed base set stuff for like way less, and I helped them sell it for 10,000. So like I do my best to like just give people that, like I said, that first experience or just an experience in the hobby that keeps them here longer.
Yeah.
Something
Yeah.
that I would want, you know? Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Um,
What about you, Java? What have you done?
what have I done?
You've gifted us with 30 chats.
Yeah, exactly. Um, I'm trying to. Oh, I mean, I would have to shout out Chef because Chef Bierski visited, and Chef and Bierski and I hung out, and he cooked for us some crazy steak with crab meat on top. It was freaking insane. And then the next morning, he cooked for us again. We had like steak and eggs with like it was ridiculous. It was so good.
I think I saw some of your story posts from that.
Yeah, because it snowed, and here in North Carolina, it's like they don't really do anything for the snow. So when it snows and it gets icy, I was just like, yeah, I'll just stay with you guys. And then we woke up in the morning and it was
Okay.
snow, and we were just standing out by the grill, and Chef was doing up breakfast. So yeah, definitely. Whenever I can eat Chef's food
I love
is
that.
a solid
I
day.
I'm jealous. I'm honestly jealous. I know Chef through Instagram, through YouTube. I know Bierski are two people that I love in this space that I've actually not met in person yet. So Justin Pokemon Wonder, he invited me to Charlotte, and I
Oh,
know that
nice.
like he has like his little get together dinner at his
Yeah,
place. So I think he invited Quilly too. So if I can make it out there in August, I think I will.
yeah,
I'll
that'd be
talk to
awesome.
Drew. Maybe we can link up to get like a hotel or something, because I would love to. Yeah, like there's a lot of people on that side that I need to meet.
Yep.
Like I still haven't met Oak. I'm pissed off about that.
I haven't met Oak either
Yeah,
because every time I'm in
Oak's one of my
Florida,
favorite people in this space.
he's not at the same
Yeah.
show. But
Uh,
yeah,
if I don't if Bierski don't make it to Card Party 3, I'm gonna be so pissed.
Bierski said he wants to
They
go to
need to
the
experience Card Party.
Seattle one.
The Tampa one. Oh, he's
Well,
gonna go to
the West
Seattle?
Coast. He wants to. So I think he
Yeah,
said like if he can make it work,
dude.
or if he can make it work, he'll do it. But
Ah,
yeah,
please. I think Dan's going. I haven't met Dan either in
I'll
person,
get the
so
Seattle one
I'm
too. That'd be
stoked for
fun.
that.
Yeah.
Oh, are you? Oh, hell yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
I know for certain that I am. I actually need to book my flight and hotel, so I only have the ticket. And if you haven't bought your ticket, whoever plans on going, do it sooner than later, because Pat does like this like tier system based on how close we get to the actual date of the event. Because I think I got mine for like $75 pre-sale, and then like slowly it makes its way up for like that 3 day
Yeah.
pass. But it's worth it, man. It's honestly one of my favorite events. Um, I,
Yeah. It was
I don't
super
know
fun
how to
last year.
explain it. It just feels more. I mean, you were at Card Party too, Java. Yeah, like what did you think?
I thought it was awesome. I think
Am I choppy?
no, you're good. Um, I think when we
Damn, it's just
well,
me. Sorry.
oh, can you hear me?
Yeah, I
Hello?
hear you.
Okay. Um, yeah, when
Yep.
we talked about it, it was Collecticon feels a bit like a trade show where it's like a bunch of
Yeah.
companies get together to do business and to like
Yeah.
show off their products and stuff like that. And Card Party feels more like an actual convention where you're actually going to like
Yeah.
do things and hang out and there's more stuff going on than just the buying and selling. So yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I liked Orlando. It's just a little bit of a trek. I mean, it's coast to coast for me, but I've been to both. I don't think I'll make it to Tampa this year, but I'll definitely be at Seattle.
Yeah.
Um, and yeah, I'm hoping there's a lot. I'm excited to see Retro too. See Nick. I haven't seen him since I think an LA Collecticon like 2 years ago. He's in Kauai right now. I love it for him. That man's killing
Yeah.
it. Like
Lucky guy.
just yeah, I recommend. I've been to Kauai a few times, twice now, and yeah, I recommended him a coffee shop to check out, and sure enough, he went. But yeah,
Yeah.
I love that for him. The things that this hobby can do for people, like that's amazing.
Yeah. It's awesome. I've always wanted to go to Hawaii.
Do it.
Yeah,
Do
really want
it.
to. My grandparents kicked themselves because when they first went to Hawaii, they were like totally sold on it.
Yeah.
And there was what do they call those things where you like
The luau.
a timeshare or
Oh,
like
timeshare.
a
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
condo?
yeah,
They
yeah.
they were gonna purchase or they looked into purchasing a condo on Maui, I think, and they never did. But then my grandpa, I think last year, looked up like what the real estate is in Maui now, and it's like crazy compared to what it was. He's like,
Yeah.
damn, we should have bought that condo.
Yeah, I think
Uh,
a lot of that went up after after the huge fires,
all the
sadly.
fires,
Like,
yeah,
yeah.
yeah,
But I actually haven't been to Maui. And so the cool thing about the different islands is like your level of like nightlife that you want is
mm,
really dependent on which island you go to. I've actually only been to Kauai. I haven't been to the big island like Oahu. But yeah, I really enjoyed Kauai. It's way more quiet, but it's way more lush, based off of what I've heard from other people. But
yeah,
like, if you're looking for nightlife, Kauai is not the place. Like, it's once the sun's down, like it's pretty quiet. But if you enjoy like hiking and just exploring waterfalls and stuff like that,
yeah,
that's your spot.
nice.
Yeah,
Yeah,
definitely though.
I have to get over there.
We need a
Um,
card party Hawaii. That's what we need.
there you go. Should have gone when Worlds last year
I
was in Hawaii,
know.
right? Yeah.
I kick myself with that and Japan. Like that experience at Worlds in Japan just looked like something special. Like I don't know how else to put it. I'm
Yeah.
really jealous of that.
Have you been to
Yeah.
Japan yet?
No, dude. Like
No.
me and my partner actually have been like we want to consider going actually in late October, like towards my birthday. So
It's a good time to go.
yeah, I know.
Yeah.
And like it's literally been like my number one place that I've wanted to go for like the past like 4 to 5 years now.
Yeah.
So it's time to pull that trigger soon. If I land this job, I'm 100% going. I'll put it that way. So
Yeah.
yeah,
Highly
yeah.
recommend. I'm actually flying out on Sunday after card party and I'll
Oh,
be there for a
sick.
week. Yeah.
Oh, damn. Isn't someone else supposed to be out there too around the same
Retro's
time?
going to be out there, I think, around the same
Damn.
time. And then Kai from Australia, he'll be out there.
Oh,
Kai
wow.
Bacon. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
So
Wow.
I don't know if I'll see them. I know Retro, I think, is going
Sure.
with his girlfriend and Kai with his family. So I don't know how much time they'll have, but it'd be cool if we all could meet up for like a lunch or something at some point.
Man, that would be. Yeah.
But
We'll see. If I end up going around the same time as you, I'm sure
yeah,
we could try to link up. That'd be sick.
yeah,
You can probably show me the ropes because it's going to be a new world for me.
yeah.
I
It
love it
is.
though.
It's super awesome though. Definitely recommend.
Yeah.
Um, let's see. Do we have any? Do we have any final? I know I have some
Oh,
questions. Start. What's up?
I was going to ask Pullfather, do you still have the Zard that you graded from Card Party? I'm curious. It got the pristine 10, didn't it?
At CGC or Beckett?
CGC.
Oh, was that Pullfather that graded that?
Yeah. Yeah.
Which Zard was it? Was it
I
a
think
base?
it was base or base 2. I think it was base.
Oh. That's pretty sick.
Am I crazy? No, I'm pretty certain. Yeah, okay. It's the base, not base 2.
Damn, that's sick.
Super banger, dude. It
Um,
only takes one.
yeah, he's crazy. In Miami, he ripped a Skyridge pack,
What did he
like
pull?
at a vendor booth. I think it was it Vaporeon or
Oh
he
my
pulled a
gosh,
holo. Yeah,
this
he
man
pulled
is
a really good
annoying.
holo. Yeah.
This man is ridiculous.
Yeah,
What
it
a
was crazy.
savage.
I saw him on Instagram. I was like, wait, I know that guy. Oh my god, he's ripping Skyridge. What the hell?
Ah, yeah. No, for real, Colt. You need a vacation after this, dude.
Oh, it was Articuno. That's right. Sorry.
Oh, Article.
But
Oh, that's
still,
my.
I mean,
Damn,
yeah,
that's my favorite from Skyridge. Oh,
yeah.
yeah. You need a break, dude. After this, this is 2 hours a day, every day for 30 days. That's 60 hours. Wow. Wow.
Yeah. It's been
Savagery.
fun. It's been fun.
No, it's super cool that you did this. I think it's a great idea. Gives you more time to like just get to know a few of these people that you may have, not ever actually had this interaction with. I'm sure like at a con we may have had some time, but at these conventions there's so many moving parts. People
Yeah.
are in every direction. So just giving pause to that and be like, hey, let's meet like all these different walks in this hobby is super cool. I'm
Yeah.
excited to go through the entire archive of videos next month. I'll probably try to put one on every day.
Yeah.
And
Nope,
thank
they've
you
been,
again for having me, dude. Like
of course.
I really do appreciate it. There's like so many legends. I was a bit nervous coming in on this just because, like I said, you got some pillars on this channel. That's for sure.
Well, I appreciate it, and it's been a lot of fun. And I think we could probably wrap up.
Perfect.
I really appreciate it, Jodo Jake, and
Appreciate you, John.
thanks for hopping on, and thanks for all your friends and stuff that popped into chat. Really appreciate you guys asking questions and everything, and definitely, Jake, if you want to just reiterate where people can find you, where people can support you before we hop off.
Yeah, thanks again, Java. Yeah, Instagram, jodo.jake, and then YouTube, Jodo Jake. I have probably, I don't know, 20 or so videos. Keeping them pushing them. As soon as I figure out what's going on with this job, I'll be back at it. But yeah, thanks again for having me, Java. Love having these conversations. It was needed with like the past couple of weeks of just looking at code and coding, and yeah, my eyes and brain needed the Pokemon content. So thanks
Awesome.
again, man. And thank you everyone that joined. I really do appreciate it.
Yeah, and good luck with the job. I hope you get it. And everyone hit the like button before you leave. And we'll see you guys. Actually, go check out Ponga on Fanatics is ripping a base 2 box tonight. So go check that out.
Go see
I'll
that.
be over there after this. But yeah, thanks, guys. We'll see you tomorrow. We should be talking to Legend of Luke, I think.
Oh, hell yeah.
Is on the schedule. So that'll be fun. All right, guys.
All right.
See ya.
Peace, y'all.